Assalamu alaikum and good evening, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. Today, I welcome you all on behalf of ACFE Oman chapter for our insightful session, joined by Isaka Muscat chapter and IA Oman chapter. Today, we came up with a very insightful topic, transformational auditing with AI, 3 practical use cases. The topics which we are going to study today by our distinguished speaker, Mr. Alexander Rühle. Why should we rethink audit? How is internal audit positions? Strategic, tactical, operational initiatives for internal audit, AI or not AI, AI use cases for the internal audit. Our speakers for today's session is Mr. Alexander Rühle, and the interesting thing is that we have received over 200 registrations from 35 countries. So where are you joining from? So we will say good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. Without any further delay, I will request our Dr. Iram Ansari for welcome our audience and speaker introduction. Over to you, Dr. Iram.
Thank you, Hassan. So again, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. Welcome to our joint webinar, Transformational Auditing with AI, brought to you by the ACFE, IIA, and ISACA Oman chapters. It's my pleasure to kick off today's session by introducing a true pioneer in the field of internal audit and AI, Alexander Rühle. Alex is the CEO and co-founder of zapliance and has earned accolades such as the Internal Audit Beacon Award, not to mention his professional certifications as a CIA and CISA. His expertise spans across SAP, data analytics, and artificial intelligence, where he has been at the forefront of revolutionizing traditional auditing practices. I had the opportunity to meet Alex in Abu Dhabi last year in 2024, and I was immediately struck by his dynamic presentation style and the passion that he brings to his work. He is not only a thought leader who envisions the future of auditing, but also a practitioner who turns subject matter experts into pragmatic data analysts and compelling communicators. Today, Alex will share insights on how AI is reshaping the auditing landscape, transforming processes, enhancing decision-making, and driving efficiency in ways we are only beginning to understand. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to Alex. Alex, over to you.
Thanks to you all, Iran. Thanks for the opportunity to speak today on such a lovely day. It is my pleasure and really a huge surprise to have so many people from so many countries in this webinar today. So what can you expect in the next 1.5 hours to 2 hours in that webinar? So I'd love to talk to you about transformative auditing with AI, which is quite a unique and new perspective that you could take on internal audit. And I'm a passionate auditor for so many years now. And of course, I'm also a specialist for artificial intelligence. And without going too much into detail, let's look at the different perspectives that transformative auditing can have. The first one is, and I think that's a no-brainer, we as internal auditors need to be transformative in the way we perform audit. Why? Because it's expected from us to be state-of-the-art and to really lead innovation with AI in our own day-to-day business. And the second one is, and this is what I read not enough about out there on LinkedIn, on all the news channels and social media, and even in articles, internal audit should be a transformative power within our organizations. And that's what we do not talk about often enough. So these 3 practical use cases are a mixture that I'm going to take you today. And please, we have not practiced that, but we need to be innovative. We need to be playful in what we do. And if the participants have the opportunities now to like write in the chat, and Iram, please come in and join me in that, and write in the chat a few answers only, if possible, to few questions. And the first one is a very easy one, and I promise I'll start immediately afterwards. Who of you is already on the transformative journey on using AI in your audit procedures? Is there a chance to see these results in the chat?
Hassan, can you have a look at it?
Yes.
If not, it's not a problem, because we try things, and if things do not work out, and you will see that multiple times. Okay. Okay, there are no challenges. There are no worries. Then let me go back and give you some impressions on what I see out there in the market. I see a lot of especially young and open-minded professionals globally, by the way, that really want to embrace AI. So I currently do not see a lot of challenge with colleagues, with single colleagues going and wanting to try AI. However, let's assume that we have individuals that want to embrace AI. What they face in their daily life and daily business life is a challenge that they have other colleagues that are not as playful and not as transformative as they could be. So the real challenge is, if you as a forward-minded professional would like to use AI, but mostly you can't in your business context because of company politics, company compliance, or even some other compliance and legal issues that do not permit you to use AI. So the real challenge in 2025 for you as a professional will be to embrace AI at the speed and the extent that you would like to use it. So you are like in a golden cage, and this is what I already mentioned several times in videos. Internal auditors often are in a golden cage. Some of them well paid, some of them less well paid, especially in Africa, less well paid internal auditors, but they are in a golden cage with opportunities. And these opportunities I'd like to present to you today. So, but let's take one step back. Why should we rethink internal audit? And we should rethink internal audit because most internal auditors, and please look at that while walking through an internal audit conference, a global conference. This year's conference will be in Toronto. I'll be there for sure, so happy to meet you there. Please go through the corridors over the event of the IIA Toronto, Global IIA, and have a look at the people's faces. Are they smiling? Are they open-minded? How do you perceive colleagues from other countries, from other companies? Are they really open? Do they signal that they want to talk to you? Because the perception of internal audit within the company mostly is like this picture that I've done with Midjourney, of course. It is closed-minded. No one wants to talk to us. And that's the harsh truth within the organization. No one wants to talk to us. So that's a very good reason. If we continue like that, being closed-minded, looking like, let me alone. I want to do my work. I need to do analysis on my own. Don't get into my office. That's a problem. So we should rethink internal audit from the perspective, from the inward perspective first. So how is internal audit positioned? And maybe let's go one step back. Let me introduce you to a second innovative reason why we should rethink internal audit. Internal audit mostly is about testing internal controls. In a lot of countries and companies, I see that internal auditors are taking the control framework. They don't really think and assess themselves, but they're only assessing the controls at hand. I was at a conference last year, not an internal audit conference, but an accounting conference last year. And at that accounting summit, it was called, I didn't have a talk there, I didn't have a session. So I was walking through the corridors, and I do that because I'd like to see and feel what other vendors in the accounting market are doing out there. How are they really using AI? What are their use cases? And of course, you can see a lot of use cases for artificial intelligence in travel expenses. You have a lot of use cases in people telling you you can book and post your receipts. That's quite often. But really, you know what? 90% of these use cases that I've seen are not really AI. And I'll come to that later. What is AI and what is not AI? Are not really AI. But there was one session I attended and one vendor I went to that really struck me by surprise. And that was, imagine you having now an accounts payable process. How does it normally work? You have a purchase order, goods received are coming into your organization, and at some point the invoice comes in. And I guess 90% of you in your organizations have a conventional invoice processing mechanism in place. Some workflow, invoice is scanned via OCR. Then you have a clearly defined path, a standard process on how these invoices are processed. You know what? I've seen that this is a thing of the past. There are already, and I've seen it. I've seen the code. I've talked to two head of accounting that are using this vendor, and I can tell you later what vendor it is, that has true AI agents taking over the entire accounts payable process. No OCR necessary anymore. The invoice comes in, is scanned, an AI agent captures the semantics and the context of the invoice, hands it over to the second agent. The second agent now has a look, do I find a purchase order for this invoice? Goes to the ERP system, looks for the purchase order. In the purchase order, there are 3 line items. However, in the invoice are 4 line items. But that doesn't matter anymore because the AI agent understands the semantics of what is in these line items and matches automatically. Two-way match between invoice line item and PO line item. A third agent is looking for, do I find a goods receipt for that invoice already? If yes, matches already. A fourth agent then goes, looks at the invoice, and not only for this vendor, but looks in the entire history of the company. How did we post such an invoice in the past? It makes completely autonomous. A booking example. In this case, they really post fully automated in 90% of the cases. And makes a booking recommendation. In some cases, a human looks over it. In 90%, it's dark posting based on the AI agent's initiative. And the invoice is posted because you have a 3-way match. There's no human in the loop anymore. And of course, there should be a human loop anymore at some point. But what does this do? Why should we rethink internal audit? It was a long story, but let me get back. Why is it important? The entire prerequisite of internal control testing is that we have standard processes and standard procedures in place. Within these standard processes, we identify standard risks. For these standard risks, we define standard controls to mitigate the risk, to come to an acceptable residual risk level. You know what? AI agents do not work like that anymore. There is no standard process anymore in an AI agent-driven world. What is taking place, that an AI agent acts like a doctor. You get into the door of the doctor, and the AI agent assesses you as an individual each and every time. There's no standard procedure. There's no standard process. But a case-by-case decision that is made by the AI agent based on how they are programmed and based on the training data that they have received. So let me ask you that question. How do we provide trust and governance in the near future? I can tell you, control testing, the conventional sampling will not be sufficient anymore to provide trust in government. So we really, if not only taking the perception that you see on that picture here, but if you take what really happens in the AI world and what is the effect on AI, not only in internal audit, but on the processes of our organization, changes significantly. And what that means is that we need to rethink. And now let me ask that question again. How is internal audit positioned? Do we see that big picture I just talked about? Or are we really focused on details and only testing controls, word by word, really being semantic about every word in a control description? Or do we see the big picture? Are we looking at documentation only? Or are we a trusted advisor like Richard Chambers always puts out? Is that what we do? Well, if you're already a trusted advisor, a true trusted advisor that has a seat at the table, great, congratulations. But I don't see that very often. Are we focusing on risks or are we focusing on opportunities? Do we mention the problems of AI and say, you can't use AI agents because you don't have a solution for governance? Or are we in internal audit part of the solution already? Are we testing AI agents in production already? And even if it's only for our internal audit purposes, don't know. Do we heed the fear in the organization? Fear, internal audit is coming because people are fearing us. Or are we really being asked proactively for our advice? That is a huge distinction. So please take this slide seriously and assess yourself. I'm not telling you where you are and where you not are. Use these 5 points and compare and assess where you are and where you want to be. This is a slide from last year. Anthony was standing at GAM in Las Vegas in March. And in 2024, he already mentioned what are the initiatives, the actions that every internal audit department should take in 2024. And if you really look through these items here, these 5 items again, 4 out of these 5 items are AI related. And let me ask you, and again, I'm not telling you where you are. I'm just asking the questions. Did you do your job in 2024? Did your organization do what it needed to do? What are the root causes why you did not do all of these things in 2024? Well, upskill in AI, you're here today, so congratulations for that. But is it too late in 2025? No, it's not. There's no better moment than now to start your AI initiative or to continue what you have already started. Okay. Another reason why we should, for sure. And again, I did a post on LinkedIn this year telling internal audit really should be scared, or it will be scared this year, and people will be not only disappointed, we will have a huge problem. And the WEF, the World Economic Forum, is issuing these reports every couple of years. And since 2013 that I was aware of it, internal audit was pretty high up the ranks, and accounting, by the way, audit and accounting, pretty high up the rank in being digitally disrupted. And you know what? We tend to decline again by 12.5% in 2025 to 2030. We do, and this is the biggest picture you can have, the World Economic Forum really looking through all of the jobs out there and the impact on digitalization on the job. And I believe I just mentioned to you a very precise example of AI agents taking over the processes, what it means for us. Enough said about that. Please have a look at the report. So where are you on this time? Again, I'm still asking you questions. The past is manual, rule-based controls tested. And I hope and I guess that your transformation period has already started. Because the future, and this is very important, internal audit is not a self-fulfilling job. We are not here to be there. We are here, if you ask me, with a very clear mission together with the second line of defense. Our mission is to provide trust in the governance of the organization. And the processes and the governance of the organization is shaken up by AI-driven processes, by AI agents. It's not a question if that will happen. It might be a question if everything is taken over by AI. I don't think so. There will be a lot of AI-driven processes, and there will still be a lot of value-added processes that are conventional-driven, manual and rule-based controls. But the future will for sure be AI-driven in majority. So when will it happen? I cannot tell you. I can tell you there will be companies out there that are quicker than others. In Europe, this is what I learned. In Europe, the public sector is the slow sector. When I met you, Iram, in Abu Dhabi, I learned it might be the opposite in your region, which is great. Wherever it is, stay focused and have a good view on companies, no matter where they come from, that are already AI driven, and have a peek, watch them closely, what they do, and what that will mean to you once these things come to your company. So here's our vision at zapliance, just a small sneak peek. We are experts in SAP data analytics. We combine it with artificial intelligence, and we prepare our clients to use the past data to, first of all, have a very robust data-based understanding of the status quo, to then build up trust and governance, meaning our job is to come from a one-off perspective that looks at the past and at the current settings and learn from what we do to then set up a continuous control monitoring. And that's already a view in the future. And maybe let me give you two perspectives why you should embrace the left side of the slide, why you should embrace data analytics. In our solution, digital audit preparations, this is not selling here. I'm trying to inspire you what good data analytics can do to your organization and to your internal audit function. The first one is data analytics are primarily used in preparing an audit because they enable you to ask structural questions. Data analytics prepares you to understand the audited company better based on data, and it enables you to ask structural questions. And internal audit, and that's my claim, provides 100% more value if the questions you're asking are not detailed, but are of a design nature and really make the auditee think of what you're saying. But the second booster for your value add in your organization is if not only the observation and your risk that you are pinpointing in your report are on point, but if what you tell them as improvement opportunity, as mitigating action, is actionable, instead of just focusing on please improve your writing and your description of control actions. Come on, what is this about? What we should do is we in internal audit, and I come to that later again, triple our value by asking design questions, good design question, one, and second, provide already a solution that could be implemented in production immediately. And please, there's a very fine line of independence, and I'm aware of it. But instead of just talking and writing, we should be able to hand over an actionable data analytics in form of a continuous control monitoring to the first line. Then we really add value. And yes, please, it's still the decision of the first line if they want to implement or not. But if the actions recommended by us are taking over on their initiative by internal audit, by the first line, this is great. And this truly is helping the organization to build trust in governance. So how do we get there? And this is the second one. So now I just talked about why we should change. And here comes how you can do it. And we have three things, and I will talk about the two things. We have a strategic perspective. The strategic perspective is to really look for the direction you want to go to. It is the broad direction that your internal audit function should go to. Start with why, really, and this is Simon Sinek, talk about the communication part and what you do are your services, the ABC I'll talk about. The tactical thing is really, what can you do now? Not now, but what can you do in the midterm to really progress on that way towards that strategic goals you have? So tactics are shorter term, but still on the way. And what you can do immediately, I think that's quite straightforward. Use AI, use ChatGPT or an alternative version. Embrace AI use cases and so on and so on. And always read stuff, and I'm doing the same. I'm doing nothing else from other open-minded internal auditors, but also read stuff from other experts outside of the field of internal. Okay, so let's focus on these 5 things now. So start with why. Does the current setup of internal audit really address the challenges of your company? Ask that question. Ask the question, how are you perceived? Hopefully not like in the picture, just see. Does the perception, and it does not matter what you want to achieve, it only matters how the auditee or your stakeholders perceive you as internal audit. And does the current setup of internal audit really meet the expectation of external stakeholders? The purpose statement of internal audit of our brand new internal audit standards. I am sorry. Internal auditing strengthens the organization's ability to create, protect, and sustain value by providing the board and management with independent, risk-based, and objective assurance, advice, insight, and foresight. I can hardly hardly read that sentence without breathing. No one in your organization captures what this is about. But, and I start with number 3, build trust. Internal Audit's mission, jointly with the second line of defense and other governing functions, is to build trust in governance. That's an easy one. Dr. Rainer Lenz is rather saying the gardener of governance as a metaphor that should stick in the mind. And this is very important. Your message, whatever it is, should stick in the mind. And this is why, and now I come to number 1, you should be able to briefly and concisely explain who you are, who we as internal audit profession are, and what you actually do to help the organization achieve its goals. So we can't change the purpose statement of the IIA, the Global Internal Audits. We can't change it anymore, not now. Maybe in the Vision 2035, maybe we can't change it short term. What you can do, however, is how you take that purpose statement and adjust it to your company-specific internal audit mission statement. That's your individual statement. This slide is no opinion or judgment about Elon Musk. This slide is so old. And Iram, you've seen me in Abu Dhabi. I'll use that same slide already. Internal audit is about communication. So Simon Sinek is one of my favorite strategic thinkers in the B2B world, in the business world. Simon Sinek said the golden circle is start with why, then really think about how you deliver your value and your why. And only then in the third step, you should talk and communicate about what you do. Start with why, then explain how you do it. And the third one is what you do. So if you would meet Elon Musk in an elevator, and this is about pitching. Of course, you will not meet Elon Musk, but think about the situation. You are a newly appointed chief audit executive at X. You get into the elevator and you meet Elon Musk, who just joins you in the elevator. He is the toughest boss, at least I can imagine, when it comes to getting your value proposition straight to the point. And how would you pitch your audit to Elon Musk and explain why you're there? And I've written very slow down there, very small down there, not slow, small, I'm sorry for my English. ELI5 means explain it like I am 5. And that's not because Elon Musk is dumb. No, it's the opposite. Elon Musk is not dumb. But he doesn't have time for BS. He wants to have an answer straightforward, in the face, no walking around. And that might be a cultural thing. I am aware we Germans tend to have the perception to be straightforward as well. The perception of Dutch is even worse. Straight to the point, straight in the face. No circumvention, I'm telling you my opinion. That's a cultural thing. But if we are culturally aware of where we are and how we should communicate, we should be prepared to pitch in the shortest possible form. My pitch? Hi, Alan, I'm Alex. I'm Chief Audit Executive, and I'm helping you that others can trust the governance of X. Whatever comes, I'm helping together with the second line to prepare and to move this company forward, whatever may come. But trust is key, Ella. Are we aligned? Then we'll meet next time in the board of directors meeting. And I'm telling you about my current trust initiatives in the ex-government. Too long, and I pitched it just out of my blue. This is not prepared. But work on your pitch, day in, day out. This is your shortest version of showing how you add value. So pitching internal audit is number one. We are not good at that. We can improve. Even if you're good, you can improve and improve in and day out. The second one is the audit report. And it is strategic, again, because communication is key. How we provide our value. A great part of it is communication. However, the German chapter of IIA, it's called the Deutsches Institut für Interne Revision, DIIR actually it's called. They do a regular questionnaire, a yearly questionnaire to the chief audit executives. And you know what? 22% of time spent in the internal audit is spent on writing reports. Of course, I'm curious to hear how much time you think you spent on internal report writing. But Richard Chambers had a blog article, I think 2 weeks ago, where he asked, what would an independent chief audit CEO would be able or would be willing to pay for an audit assignment? Would an external be willing to pay 22% of your time for report writing? Are you serious? What is the value add? We need to get better. And the great thing is there are opportunities out there that can help you with that. The one opportunity is, and here's my friend David Hill. David is one of the forethinkers, and jointly with a lot of other people like Tracy Marquardt. There's so many people out there. Sarah, if you're listening in, I don't know. Sorry, I forgot you. Sarah, of course, also is great in report writing. And report writing is not only about the one-page audit report. How we deliver value already starts in the risk assessment, starts with our mission statement. But really, if we are not able to shorten our reporting on one page, and maybe if it's not one page, I'd love to know, and it's just not, I'd love to hear your opinion. How many of you already have a one-page audit report? How many of you already tried podcast formats for their clients? Because last year, I heard it for the first time that that a CEO of a company asked his chief audit executive, I am commuting every day for at least an hour. Would it be possible for you? No, it was not a question. It was a demand. Please submit your report as a podcast so I can listen. Maybe at the end, Iran, we can think about something. Last year in October, I took on an audit assignment on my own again, because I wanted to prove what technology can really do in an audit. So I did an audit myself with Dr. Ursula Schmidt. She's also an Audit Beacon. And Ursula and I, we tried to use technology wherever possible. We failed a bunch of times, I can tell you. And we did not deliver our podcast audit report because it was simply not good enough from a media point of view. But still, we changed the client and I changed all of that. I can tell you that we at zapliance can already, we have our own chatbot set up. Thank you, Amir, for that. Amir is my data scientist at zapliance. Amir has set that up, and I can upload a Word file to our chatbot, and then we have a feature that was developed in Python that transforms that Word document into a podcast file. And of course, it's not perfect, but it's only a question of time that podcasts and the media form of a report is determined by the reader or by the listener, by the recipient of the report. So you as internal audit, chief audit executive, should be prepared that the readers of the report demand multiple, not only report only, not only a one-pager. It might be that you have 4 or 5 different formats available depending on who wants to read the report. And now the question comes up, Alex, how are we supposed to deliver 5 reports if you just told us that 22% is too much time in our audit? You know what? AI is the answer. If you think from the result, if you think from the deliverable of your audit and backward induct to how you should get to a format, to a text file, to a pre-trained AI, maybe even an AI agent that transforms your content that you need to prepare. You should prepare one huge file that is able to transform into a one-pager, into a podcast, into a video, into an Excel observation list or a SharePoint observation list. I don't care, whatever it is. And into a 100-page report, because yes, there are people out there that still want to read a 100-page audit report. These people are not even a handful, at least I hope so. So please invest heavily in your strategy on how you want to communicate. It will not only be a one-page audit report. I'd love to play this podcast to you. Maybe Iram, just send me a note. We'll do that later.
Okay, we'll do that later.
The third strategic thing you should work on is, and please remember, our golden circle. Start with why in the middle, then talk about the how you deliver value, and the how consisted of your pitch and your communication, your report. And only then you should talk about your services, your internal audit services. And we all talk about assurance, and some of us about consulting. And yes, we do have that thing about independence and objectivity. And why I love Dr. Rainer Lenz's work so much is because he's a forethinker. He thinks different and adds a new perspective, which I truly love, which is building solutions. Where is it written that internal audit should not start to build solutions? Yes, we should not build the final solution taken over, but we can test one, we can trial, we can use our opportunity within internal audit. Let me summarize. We as internal audit do not bear responsibility nor accountability, in at least not in the companies I know of, please, for operational stuff. That's why we talk about independence so often. So we are really free to do what is necessary to build trust and governance, or whatever your mission statement is. Why don't we use this opportunity to start building? Now, let me come back to my initial slides. In an AI agent-driven business world, you can triple the value of internal audit value creation by asking better design questions and by building, showcasing solutions where the first line can say, I'd like to take it over after the audit. Internal audit, please onboard me and show me how to do it. I'd like to do it on my own before you come next time. This is true value creation. This is building instead of just thinking. Doing is harder than anything else. So audit can be more than assurance. We need to be trusted in what we do. But you know what? Trust is built, trust in us as auditors is built if we can showcase on how you could do it better, not only in writing and talking, but in doing. And I'd like to show you how we do stuff at zapliance. Wuka and Barney, this is surfing the wild ocean, how Rainer puts it. One side note, Rainer, Lance, and Barry Anslin, I didn't take his picture in here. They are just in the process of releasing this great new book. And Rainer has issued a dozen of papers. The ABC paper is my favorite. But what really hits me at the Garden of Governance book of Rainer, which I had the honor to pre-read it. Thank you, Rainer and Barry, for that opportunity, is that Barry and Rainer really share bits and pieces of all of their internal audit experience into that book. What should young internal auditors do? How should they behave? What is the right mindset to embrace? There's so many practical hints in that book. It really makes it worthwhile. And please, I do not get a single euro for telling you that. I can only tell you that you should follow people that are open-minded and have a different perspective than other organizations out there. Okay. Strategy. Start with why. Continue how you add value, the communication part, pitching, reporting. Third one is what you do. We talked about the ABC. And now we get to the tactical part of life, which is listen to understand. The more we get data-based, the more processes change, the less we in internal audit know about how business is actually done. Which should be really going back in history to get to the future, is to really focus on the Latin meaning of audit is audire, listen to understand. I know I'm talking so much here, but I can't listen to you guys, unfortunately. So listening to understand is a great way of connecting with people, being a good listener, but also wanting to understand really from your inner thinking, wanting to understand how they do things, and only then reply. So true listening is crucial. I already said that in Abu Dhabi. Go out for lunch a lot. Not only with people having, not only the bosses, but people who are really the process owners that know how a business is done day in and day out. And then do what you do best, listening, and then applying your business acumen. And you know how, on what data and techniques can do to business processes, how to improve, how to gain trust in governance. And yes, you need to be able to know what data can do. You need experience in data and techniques. Be sure of it. Whatever they tell you, because all of the people that really bear responsibility, operational responsibility, they have challenges. And if they trust you, they will tell you their challenges, and this should be the objective. And you can use your brain to help them fix their daily challenges. And if you can't do it short term, if just talking is not enough, why don't you make an offer to the people and say, you know what? I am blessed in internal audit because we are blessed because we don't have responsibility on their own. Yes, we're here to really build trust and governance. And as part of building trust and governance, I'd like to take what you just told me. Let me showcase in 2 weeks how we in internal audit would solve that for you. That would be the building block, the ABC of what Rainer's paper ABC is proposing. Why not building something and then pitch the result to the process owners? And you know what? You gain street credibility, and the trust in you and your team will increase significantly, and that's the promise. AI initiatives, and then so far I cannot see the chat. I'm just reading the message, Hassan. So far I cannot see the chat, but maybe later. Only practice contains all the theory. If you don't do data analysis, there's no assurance in the future without data analysis. And what do I mean with that? Let us go back. After that accounting summit in September last year, where I seen these AI agents live in action, confirmed by true head of accountings, I wasn't sleeping well for a couple of days because I said, how do we want to audit that in the future? And of course, we need to audit AI agents, we need to audit ITGCs and all that. Tick mark, we need to do that. But also, what really hit me, forget about control testing of the past for sampling. Forget about it. In an AI agent-driven world, there is no assurance without data analysis. There is no assurance without an independent internal control framework that's independent. So the same data set, same data source. But if you want to provide trust in what happens in these processes, the governing functions need to analyze the data in order to identify risk, in order to define mitigating controls. And you are not part of that game if you do not show your street credibility. So you better buckle up. Start data and start analyzing data. You better buckle up to shake up your old internal control system, which is our role in internal audit, to ask that question in an audit. How are we prepared? Where are we on the journey to continuous control monitoring? And how should you do it? You gain self-confidence in technology, in data analytics, only if you start using, and only if you are willing, and this is really willing, if you are willing to leave your comfort zone. This is the surfing area of what Dr. Rainer Lenz was talking about. Okay, cut. We discussed why we need to change, why transformative auditing is a true chance to provide trust and governance by a strategic perspective. Strategic is start with why, explain how you provide value, communication is key, pitching and reporting, and only then challenge your services and enhance your services by building services. Of course, you need to go for that. We then looked at the tactical side of life. These are the 5 things I mentioned. The tactical side of life is really embrace AI, be playful. It's just key. And now I promised 3 use cases. There will be more if time permits. Yes, it's an hour now. We still have some time. Let's dive into the details and start with what is AI and what is not AI, because there are five things that every one of you can challenge. Are we talking about AI or not? So the first one is autonomy. Does the artificial intelligence system take a decision or a pre-decision autonomously? An AI agent, as I talked about, he's taking a decision. He's taking that invoice line item and matches it to PO line item. That's autonomous decision. It needs to have relevance to the business. That's an easy one, no brainer. Please focus on stuff that matters. Tick mark. This third one, a really important one, is the ability to learn, meaning that AI agent should learn based on positive conformance or negative conformance. It's a minimum. So if that AI agent needs to get better and needs to train himself on the answers. So if you're saying, and let me give you an example, why is ChatGPT a true AI? Because it learns based on your answers. It learns based on your reinforced, that answer doesn't suit me, that answer suits me, or whatever you do. Please correct more in detail. Please be more specific. This is the learning part of ChatGPT, for example, so the ability to learn. The dynamic adaptability is very important, meaning it's not a fixed rule base. If new data is fed in, a new result is coming out. It's not always the same. And that's on the same time the problem we see in ChatGPT, because you ask it the same question in a different context, and because of the different context, it dynamically adapts the answer and how it gets through all these nodes and comes to an answer. So the dynamic adaptability is key. It's not always the same process that is followed. That's why the doctor, you're going to the doctor again, will judge you on your individual assessment. And this is how AI is working. It's an individual assessment based on the context that the features that the AI is given, sees. The last one is specificity. Please have a look at and discuss within your governance framework. And yes, I know we have some ISACA folks here. This is a huge question. What is a company-specific AI initiative? Is using Google Maps or Google already specific to your AI framework? Is using DeepL already specific to your AI framework? Is using ChatGPT? I mean, you go to just OpenAI and go to ChatGPT, the public one. Is that specific to your company? How does that change if you take that algorithm and put it on your private service? Is that specific to your company? You need to find an answer for that, because if you want to govern all the AIs out there with your company regulatory, you will not succeed. So you need to very fine balance, or there's a fine balance in being over compliant, but you want to regulate all the risks associated, because of course there's a risk when people put confidential stuff to Google. Of course there's a risk, but the risk was always there. And what is something we need to trust our people with, or give them guidelines and guidance, and what do we really need to control? Next, really have the right focus. Have the focus on how AI is trained versus how AI is embedded in your processes versus how AI is used. Very important. So a lot of people discuss the risk of AI and why you should not embrace AI, because in the current setting with Chinese AI systems is, well, the US guys basically claim these Chinese have trained their AI based on our ChatGPT. That can't be. Well, I don't know. I don't know better. Really? Do I care? I do care how this AI is embedded. I do care, and that's why there's a small heart. I do care about if I use that model locally and there is no Chinese governing in the end. So there's a true answer by the AI system, which is open source, which is great. Versus I ask the same question in the online mode of it, and there is Chinese governance over it. And I've seen a post today, really funny post, tell us the challenging part of Chinese government of the last 10 years. And the AI is telling, oh, we are doing everything good. Then you exchange China with US, and suddenly all the bad stuff of the US government is appearing in the answer of the AI. So really, we need to be careful. We as auditors need to be very careful and how the AI is embedded. But the thing we should focus most about before we govern and close things down is to embrace how AI is used, to really be on the innovative side of AI with all of our risk mindset that we have, but embracing first, governing second. I know this might be controversial here in that webinar, but the biggest risk of AI is that we do not use it or we use it too late. Please let that sink. The biggest risk of AI is that we do not embrace it enough and not fast enough. Okay. We will talk about, so I will not talk about ISACA, folks. I will not talk about the NIST AI risk management framework. I'd like to take 3 examples, and I'm going into detail if time permits, for document analysis, audit documentation, and duplicate payments, and VAT use cases that I'd like to go through. So let's start with document analysis. I told you that Amir is my colleague at zapliance, the data scientist. He has set up an own chatbot for us at zapliance. So pretty much, and I'm sorry to tell, we canceled all of our Microsoft Copilot licenses. We canceled. They were expensive and they really didn't meet our expectations at all. We set up our own Microsoft Azure server on which we deploy the Microsoft Azure AI services and combine that with Microsoft Azure document AI services, meaning that can read the documents. Remember the P2P process I explained in the beginning? Pretty much we do the same. We have an AI that reads documents that you upload, and then you can ask these documents any questions you want. These documents can be PDFs, they can be pictures from, and yes, that's a German picture. It can be the standards, whatever it is, you can upload it. And I will show you an example of a use case on how we do it. I'm going fast through that because this is really not new. This is no rocket science anymore. Your IT department should have an easy case on really on using that. So your lessons for your AI journey: OCR is a commodity. Combine OCR with large language model, and that's not new. I'm not spending very much time on it. Really experiment in your internal audit daily jobs with AI reading documents and your auditors asking it a question. To set this up, it is also not a rocket science. It is basic Python code, and yes, devil's in the detail, but still it's Python code, and there are services available that can then really enable you to do that. Did I tell you about the audit I did at a company. It was a P2P material audit. So I used data analytics with our software Audit. I extracted SAP data. We did all of that. We then, and this is new, we then transcribed all of our workshops with the customer. And of course, we asked the customer and they agreed for the Teams transcription. So we had Teams meetings that we transcribed. When I analyzed the data in Power BI dashboards in our software Audit, I also, during analyzing the data, I was filming myself with the headset on and I was talking out aloud for the meeting to being transcribed. And we took those transcripts and prompted them. And I can tell you, prompting matters. Prompting matters. You can prompt a transcript 1,000 ways, but if you don't know what you want out of a transcript, you don't get it. Be very specific in what you want. Tell whatever ChatGPT service, if it's Copilot, if it's your own server, tell it specifically who you are, what your context is, and what you want. Play with it a dozen times. Let a lot of people play with it and collect best practice. Let the people get together after the audit assignment and let them tell you what worked good, what didn't work well. Improve. Do it a continuous journey to transcribe the stuff you do. And even if it's just with yourself, to transcribe it, to prompt it, to use that as your key documentation. Because in the end, you can save a bunch of time, not in the initial phase, but later. If you transcribe and you have predefined prompts that summarize everything for you. And if Microsoft Teams is not good enough, there are dozens of even better performing services out there. Please have a look at the internet on how to really make prompts, how to translate prompting into, transcripts into documentation. Perfect solutions. Yes, they cost money, but they are far cheaper than your auditors, for sure. So really, it made a difference. And I have all my prompts available and I will post about that experience over the next months on LinkedIn as well. So if you're not connected, let's connect on LinkedIn afterwards. So this is an old one. Invest in automation and high quality documentation. Copilot and data rooms still have, I don't know why it's May 2025. What I meant is for sure February 2025. Somehow it got stuck. I cancel Copilot. What should I say? Do not expect Copilot at the current stage to be complete and accurate enough for audit purposes. Be very specific in your expectation, what you want to do with Copilot and what you do not want to do with Copilot. Focus on prompting and extracting information from a single document only. Do not try to analyze tens of documents and hundreds of documents together, one after each other. And I'll show you how you can do it. And I'll use that duplicate payment assessment that we do at zapliance to show you specifically how we at zapliance really use triple AI in our audits for duplicate payments and what is not written here, non-deducted VAT. So what we do is, and again, we are SAP only, and I'm aware that most of you do not have SAP systems to analyze. What we do since 2018 is We have data extraction from SAP, so we take data from the SAP raw systems, downloaded from SAP, stored in a database. And very important, raw data of ERP systems mostly does not have high quality. In one of my recent posts, I'm claiming that low quality is not a reason to say you cannot do AI. This is true, because you should use AI for your feature engineering to clean up the data firsthand. If your company does not have clean data to start with, hello, you just found your first use case that you can try and offer to your company. Dear first line, we in Internal Audit love to help you with cleaning up your data. Will you give us that opportunity to show what we can do? Just thinking out of the box, it could be a very good use case to start with. Well, we've done that years ago. So we have features that are independent of data quality. We use the data that is there and really have over 400 features. And we have a pre-trained model that ran on more than 2,000 companies. I think it's more than that by now. On a pre-trained model, and we really forecast and predict with our collective intelligence where the same invoice was posted twice in SAP. And I talked about 3 AIs. The first artificial intelligence is based on SAP data only. So we have our pre-trained model, we have our 400 features, and we forecast the probability for these 2 invoices that you can see here of them being duplicate. And since last year, February, we started with the first clients to additionally not audit these things manually now, because what would you do next as auditors? You would go into the ERP system, you open up these 2 invoices, you look at these invoices and say, are they the same? Or do I find something on these invoices that tell me that there might be a different service period or a different delivery document behind? So what you actually do is, was the service or delivery made once? Is it the same on these 2 invoices? Then it's a duplicate. And if you have different or multiple delivery services on these 2 invoices, although they look the same, it's not a duplicate. And this is what you would do here. This invoice was entered twice, or this invoice was not entered twice. It's the really cool stuff. And let me explain. The really cool stuff that we now do is, for all of these things that the first AI comes with, let's assume it's like Google. You have 10,000 results. Data analysis always produces an amount of data that's too much. We have like 10,000 potential duplicates. What we now do is we extract the raw PDF files from the ERP system overnight, take them out of the system, and combine it with reading the documents. And let me leave my mode. Hassan and Iram, please tell me if you can see the PDF file that I'm trying to show you. This is a true file. I'm trying to show you. Can you read it? Can you see it?
Yes.
Yes. So now let's assume we extract the documents from SAP, download it, and have them in our Azure cloud. And each and every document, just as I mentioned to you, individually, we upload it. Of course, it's automated in the background. We upload it to the AI. The AI reads and understands what is written here. And some of it is German. Apologize, but the AI doesn't even if it's Arabic language, even if it's English, Chinese, German, the AI knows these languages and understands the semantics and the context behind it. And what I'd like to show you is the one use case we have is identifying duplicate recorded invoices, but we also have the use case of identifying if the VAT, the deducted VAT based on the invoice, was correctly posted in SAP. So in this example, this is why I took it out. You see two line items with VAT, it's a German word for VAT, with VAT on it, that could be deducted. But that is written in the line item and not written in the item down here. So most OCR systems of the past are not able to identify that VAT that is here. And now please watch out. I'm going to show you now a very dirty, ugly Excel file. But if you look at the yellow line, please, and you can see that we have thousands of documents here for this client. It's a true client case that I'm showing. Of course, the name is erased. The AI tells us, watch out, that document has a potential for import turnover tax, not deducted. The judgment is no judgment, and the zapliance AI makes a recommendation. And we basically prompt each and every document, and the AI, the large language model, is perfect, almost perfect, in answering if import turnover tax have been found on the document. And we also found tax exemptions. However, it tells us what the document is about. It tells us the tax rates found. And what you see here now is, and this is important, we know the tax data that was posted in SAP. That is 4,622. The AI, however, found tax in sum of 9,333 on the invoice, going back to the invoice. This plus this here. Meaning the company has forgot to claim this tax amount here. And this is what the AI tells us. By reading and understanding the semantics of the document, which enables us at zapliance to really provide value to our clients, because they suddenly can go back to their authorities and claim back these 4,300 euros in this case, which is money directly on the table. No question about the quality and the added value by internal audit. Measurable, on point. This is why it's a great use case. Okay, let me go back to switching this around. Can you see that again?
Yes.
Yes, perfect. Back to the slide deck. First AI based on SAP data. Second AI is really reviewing the document, understanding the documents with the objective to get rid of false positives. That is the objective, but also understanding the semantics, the details, as an independent reviewer of the first line. And bringing up the stuff that truly matters, that justifies a very good question, a design question, and underlined or proven by a few items. Very important. No? Okay. So we do SAP only the results, I'm jumping over, the results are stunning. So, sorry, results are stunning. Lessons for your AI journey. Data quality matters. Invest in preparing data for the AI, meaning if the quality is not good enough, that's the first use case for AI. Focus on very specific use cases. I'm also posting about all the experience that I have with a lot of professionals out there that ask, Alex, can you help me with our AI use cases? I'm happy to support in such webinars, but I can't, I have a business to run, I'm sorry. I can't help every case, but as AP, I can provide a lot of value, and I'm also happy to talk to most of you. Come to me and let's share the challenges that you guys have on my LinkedIn channel. I'd love to help the profession in really embracing AI in their day-to-day business. And how do we do it? By doing. Please do on your own. Don't come to anyone else asking, how should I do it, Alex? Think yourself, try yourself, fail, and then go to a professional that helps you. And if I got time, I'm happy to support. Really, the results are stunning. I can only tell you, the results are stunning if and only if you are aware of that you need to fail multiple times, unless you will create stunning results. Be open, be ready to fail, to stand up, and to continue walking. Okay. I can jump. I'd love to use the rest of the time, 1.5 hours now gone. I'd love to use the rest of the time for your questions. So the key takeaways. The new global internal audit standards are there. You can't change them, you need to accept them, but use the opportunity to reposition your audit function based on strategy, tactics, and actions. The second thing is, if you really want to transform your audit, the way you audit and how audit is used as transformative power within your organization, go back to the roots of audit and listen better. Listen to people that really face the day-to-day challenges, because they do need to work with AI agents very soon. Go out for lunch and listen carefully. Be curious, be AI curious, be playful, but do, most of all, do. D-O. Doing is the best way to gain street credibility. And do it all in a safe AI audit playground. You do have great freedom in most of the internal audit functions. I don't know if every one of you has great freedom within your audit function. I don't know, but your chief audit executive should have the option to have freedom in how to perform, because we are independent and we don't have responsibility for the first line process. So prepare a safe audit playground where your people can play. If you're a chief audit executive, it is your duty to prepare that safe playground for your people. And maybe, and that's a question of me to you, and then asking, be playful enough and be bold enough to prototype solutions and to do an ABC as your services: assurance, building, and consulting. Thanks a lot. 90 minutes. It's been a long talk, longer than I normally do. I hope you're still awake. And now I'm really open for your questions. I can't see these questions now.
Can you access the questions through the chat?
I only, yes, I see Hassan and Chidambaram also. Yes. Can
And if
AI
you just
be
go down
manipulated to
panel,
hide
you will
fraud? Is
see
the question. Ah, no, I can see all. I need to change to all. Yes. I don't want to send all.
Okay, if you don't mind, I will read the questions.
Yes, or maybe you share the screen with the questions and then we can go from there.
Question tab is there. Just
Okay.
click. Okay, you can find the questions.
Ah, questions. Budget. Great freedom, but not unlimited budget as internal audit function. Nashia, I see that question. Is that right? Oh, here a ton of questions. I see them now. Yes. Let me make it bigger. Yes, I have the questions now. I'm sorry. I'm a bit. Okay. Is there a global community for auditors that discuss best usage of AI? Mahmoud is not in the webinar anymore. I know of a WhatsApp group, and I know on LinkedIn is there's quite an active. Let me share this one here. On LinkedIn, there's quite an active group of people, open-minded. I can only encourage you through your organizations, ACFE, IIA, and ISACA, to find like-minded people and then to discuss it. This is my only, and there is a global community in the WhatsApp group organized, but I think that's best if we come back to that later. Will the session be available for replay?
the session is recorded. And
the session is being recorded. So
Yes, this session will be posted on YouTube.
Okay, it will be on YouTube. Very good. So we can, once it is on YouTube, we can then post it on LinkedIn and anywhere else, which is very good.
Yes.
Perfect. What advice would you give to second line functions trying to prepare for audits and support this work? Alim. Trying to prepare for audits and support this work. This is a great question. Alim, my recommendation to the second line would be to take the internal control framework you have and really challenge each and every control objective. I don't know which framework you're using. For what would change if that process is taken over by an AI agent that is not following our standard processes in our organization, but will continue or will do case by case decisions? That's the first one. Second one is all the governing functions should work closely together. Let me repeat. All governing functions should work closely together. So what we at zapliance do in the SAP field only is we do data analytics in one of project modes, looking at the past. And what we learn at the end of the audit, we are able to transform that directly into a continuous control monitoring solution. Alim, this is my second advice. Work towards a unified governance framework that enables the first line to dive into a continuous control monitoring versus continuous auditing. Okay. Again, there's a question on my, and let me share that slide again. What's the difference between ability to learn and dynamic adaptability? Very good questions, Ali. Let me explain the difference. The ability to learn is the AI has given an answer. Let me take place the doctor as an example again. You go to the doctor, tell him the doctor your problem. The doctor is saying, maybe, dear Alim, you're not drinking enough water over the day. And then you tell the doctor, dear doctor, yes, I'm drinking 4 liters a day, so it can't be it. The AI will consider what you just told the AI as feedback and comes up with the next suggestion. However, how it comes to that suggestion, drink more water, doesn't follow a rule set. It's only coming up with that result, drink more water, based on the training that it has received and what you told us as the initial story. So the difference between ability to learn is after the first decision is made. It's like a dynamic adaptability. So like on the time horizon, one by one after the other. And the dynamic adaptability is within one process to come to one result. So dynamic adaptability, one-time decision, and then there's feedback, there's another decision. Feedback, another decision. I hope that clarifies. And sorry that I didn't explain it better in the first place. Slides are no longer visible. Okay, that's over with. Right focus. How AI provides business value. I'm with you. It's a good one, but I can't continue with that. What's your perspective, Jose asked, regarding the use of AI agents for audit purposes? And what AI agent providers do you notice are being used in the current audit practice? It's difficult not to make too many commercials here, but I'm pinpointing to others. I know that Professor Dr. Eulerich is a German professor, and Dr. Iram, please provide the link. You know Mark, and we know Mark well. Mark is working day in, day out on improving AI services with AI agents. Please read his work, listen to him. He is one of the forethinkers when it comes to that. Also, he's in a bunch with other professors, and they're doing great work. Yeah, when it comes to internal audit. Second one is my friend Robert Berry. I know he's experimenting a lot. I did not have the chance to look at what he is doing in detail myself. Robert, if you're listening, it's about time that we hook up again. Long time no see and talk, so we should do it for sure. Okay. Isn't it obvious that many people will lose their jobs because of AI in the future? People not embracing AI will lose their job over the long run. Not everyone can be saved. The discriminator is open-minded people embracing the options, focusing on value adding based on in a dynamic world, they will have a job. Internal audit in the end is people business, is my claim. Jose, next question. What is your perspective regarding data privacy issues in applying AI tools for audit purposes? Very good question, Jose. You should be very careful, and we auditors are well equipped for that. When it comes to using publicly available large language model services like ChatGPT, we should not upload confidential and data privacy services. What you can do, however, is you can book these services on your local premises. It's possible. Even the newest algorithms, the Chinese one, they are available for download. So you can download the large language model, put them on your server, and you can completely cut them off. So data privacy really, for me, is only a question of governance. It's solvable. So in terms of find a solution, be aware of the risk. Perfect, you are, Jose. Now find a solution to deploy whatever large language model in an environment, I call it the audit playground, where you can do whatever you want. We done it, perfect. And our clients accept it, by the way. Our data, our reports are confidential. How can we trust AI if we use it that the information will remain confidential? It's a governance issue. Samir, it's a governance issue only. It's the same answer just before. Please work on a safe audit playground where you can deploy your latest large language models locally. There's no data privacy issue anymore. Solvable. What are common pitfalls you see when the internal audit departments start with embedding AI in their processes? Over expectation is a pitfall, Imran. Over expectation is AI is in its effect and its added value overrated short term and highly underrated within the 1 to 2 year process. You need to embrace AI. You need to be willing to try, willing to fail. And how we do it at zapliance, in my audits, in my team, I'm embracing them. I'm telling them, guys, use AI. But whenever you have a mission critical task in front of you, you should ensure that you do it the old way to get to the result in any way. So really safeguard the results. And on the same time, embrace AI to see if you can do it better. Sometimes I set 2 teams on it. One is solving it the old way, one's the new way, and then we bring it together. Great. Yes, we do not have unlimited budget. No one has unlimited budget. The great thing is you can use AI with no budget. A server cannot be the question. If you can't, if your company cannot afford a server locally run by internal audit or encapsulated with internal audit, that's one story. To then download an open source large language model there and really get with Python script that you can Google or you can ask the public ChatGPT on how to do it. Really, you can use public ChatGPT to answer a question that you can then solve locally. Be creative. Your QR code scan to connect doesn't work. Ah, it's a pity. I'm trying. Let me try. That's my fault, guys. Oops. You're right. My code doesn't work. I'm sorry. Please connect on LinkedIn. Find me on LinkedIn. That's my fault. What's the channel on YouTube? Alim asks. Alim, we will.
ACFE Oman.
Yes.
And we are available on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook as well.
Yes. So I guess I talked extensively about data confidentiality and how you can set up your own environment. What is your thought on NVIDIA releasing a personal AI supercomputer? Oh, I love it already. Joel. Now I see who it is, Joel. Welcome to the show. Great to see you here on a Sunday in Germany, which is normally a day off for the Sunday folks. Joel, I already love it. I think I haven't ordered one, but your question, I guess, comes to the NVIDIA claimed that they have now a supercomputer for 3,000 euros, dollar, I don't know, it's the same nowadays, where you can train your own models. The future, and I didn't talk extensively here about this one, the future lies in small language models. We talk about large language model extensively. The future and AI agents will not need large language models. not all of them at least. So divide impera, the Latins say, really cut the elephant in pieces, meaning making a small problem small also gives the option to use small language models. We at zapliance are closely looking at the options currently to really deploy small models also to our clients. We're not there yet. We're still in the play mode, Joel, if you will. Maybe we see each other in March, and then we talk in person if you like. What we do. Slides will be sent. No worries. Let me update my QR code, and then I'll send the slides later. I'm not believing that AI will replace internal audit, but we should use it as a tool. I hope I didn't say that. Did I say at one point that AI will replace internal audit? No, it will not. Internal audit will have two more questions. Perfect. AI will not take over some of the auditors. Some of the audit mindset will be obsolete, but internal audit as total will not be obsolete. You know why? Because in an AI-driven business world, someone needs to provide trust in governance, and internal audit will have a crucial role in that. Quality, but less added value on auditing technical controls? No, I would not say that, but that would go too fast. Okay, let me close the question. Hassan, thanks for your hint. I would be at the end of my session. I thank you a lot for the invitation. It was a long speech. I have no feedback so far if it was too long. So please, I'm a continuous learner. If you can tell me, and you know, everyone knowing me, I'd love to perform on stage even more than I do it in such webinars. So please, whatever I can do better next time in such a webinar, let me know. Please be objective, be fair, but please give me feedback. I would love to have it. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Mr. Alexander. It was a great, insightful session. Now we'll move forward for our next agenda. I will request Mr. Chidambaram, Director, CISA ISACA chapter, for formal vote of thanks. Over to you, Chidambaram.
Thank you, Hassan. Distinguished chapter leaders, guests, esteemed speaker, Mr. Alexander Rühle, and valued participants. As we conclude our insightful session on transforming audit with AI, it was not just one use case, it was 1, 2, 3 use cases and many other insights that Mr. Alexander gave us. So it's my privilege to extend a heartfelt vote of thanks to everyone who made this webinar truly resounding success. We had over 35 countries, people participated, 100 plus people who participated today. First and foremost, we express our deep gratitude to His Majesty Sultan Haitham bin Tarik for his unwavering support in advancing knowledge and professional excellence in Oman. Special thanks to CBFS for the continued support and sponsorship for all the chapters in Oman, and especially today to ACFE, IAA Oman, and ISACA Muscat for bringing this joint session to life, because this is truly an exciting and also a unique scenario where we've had 3 chapters coming together. Sincere thanks to Mr. Alexander for his valuable time, because I know it's a Sunday, it's a day off for him, and he came to us at short notice. He provided a lot of inputs, a lot of insights in AI's role in auditing. I'm sure a lot of people who have now, who have not woken up to AI, will start waking up, and even people who are using AI will, reassess how they're using it and then try and find new ways. To all our audience from 35 odd countries, it was amazing to have you all here. To our dedicated chapter members, once again, thank you so much. You are the backbone of our success. Thank you all for your participation. Have a nice evening, morning, or good night, wherever you are from. And we look forward to more such events in the coming years. Thank you.
Thank you, Chidambaram. Before we wrap up the session, I would request our President, Haitham Al-Raisi. So please, can Mr. Haitham Al-Raisi, would you like to say some few words?
Thank you, Hassan. I would say to the speaker, I know this is Sundays are digital free days for you, but you made an exception for today for ACFE Oman and their participant. I would say thank you for whoever joined today's webinar. I understand there are 35 countries, participants from 35 countries. I would say our speaker brought truly global perspective. So thank you for making this session even more insightful. And we definitely look forward to connecting with you at future events, hopefully, inshallah.
Thank you so much. Dr. Iram, would you like to speak something before we wrap?
No, I think just thank you, Alex, for accepting at such short notice and yeah, for giving us part of your Sunday.
Once again, thank you everyone, and thank you, Mr. Alexander, and all the attendees who are joining from various parts of the world. Thank you so much. Have a good day, good night, good evening as well. See you in next session. Bye. I'm signing off.